Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying for Beginners with Jim Misiura. Today we're going to tie another one of Jack Gartside's patterns, and this is going to be a soft hackle streamer. I've got my mind in the bass mode, but this is actually tied for trout, and it's a large streamer. The hook that I have in the vise, it is a Mustad 3366. It's a size 1. And this is more or less a general purpose hook, but it's got a 1 is a good gap. Got a straight shank there. And this is a pretty easy fly to tie. There's only going to be 2 materials. Well, 3 materials. We'll put a little bit of flash in there too. But it's only going to be 3 materials. There's going to be Marabou, flash, and pheasant rump. I'm going to use black thread. And we're going to start off by putting a base of thread on the hook. There's no body on it. And we're just going to bring that down just about where it would hang at the point. This is a pretty good spot. Now I'm going to take a little bit of flash. I'm just going to use pearl crystal flash. And I'm just going to pull out a bunch of these. I don't know, there might be 10, 15 there. Go ahead and take them off. And I have basically the whole length of one side, and we'll go ahead and tie those in. We don't want to make them so they droop too far. We'll tie them in there. And you can bring these back. Oh, they're all wrapped around. Not a big deal though. And when we could put a couple of wraps on top of them. Now you can take them and you can cut them at a little bit different of a length. You can see there we go, and we get some flash in there. You could actually randomly snip these at different sizes if you want. Now the first feather we're going to use is Marabou feather, and when you're making using Marabou and winding it on the hooks, you want the blood stem. If you look at this, you see how thin that stem is. That's the blood stem. Here I have another feather. You see how thick that is? Not the blood stem. On this particular one, the blood stem would be about right there and up, and then 3/4 of it is not blood stem. This part here, you can see they're matted down, but if you take your brush, you could brush them out and they'll turn into fluff, and you could use those for woolly bugger tails or something like that. Now I'm going to take the blood stem and I'm going to tie this in by the butt. This is actually a little thick right there, but it's still decent. Still good enough to wind. I'm also going to take just a little bit of black Marabou, same blood stem. You can see not blood stem up here, decent blood stem. I just want to mix a little bit of black in with the Marabou, or with the olive. Again, I'm thinking bass pond fishing, so I think black and olive mixed together will be a pretty decent combination. Now I'm going to take them both at the same time. You can see these olive are really long. We're going to go ahead and wind them And at the same time you're winding, you want to stroke the hackles towards the rear. Yep, let me take that back. Because these are so long, I'm going to have to take that and kind of comb them down there a little bit, just so I don't grab them and wind them all in a bunch. There we go. We're going to stroke them towards the rear as we're going. It's a lot easier if you do a single color. That it would definitely be true here. I'm just going to take the black one and wrap that. Give that another wrap, and then I'm going to tie it in. Take that olive there. Bring my thread up forward. And I'm going to continue wrapping that olive one. I'm going to go ahead and grab the end of this with my hackle pliers. And I'm going to tie this in, because you can see I'm at the end there. Now that little bit there, I could just break that off. You want to pull everything to the rear. Get a nice, gonna wet it a little bit just to help keep it under control there. You can also take your brush and brush that out. Use the comb side. And this is it. It's going to be pretty thick like this when it's in the water, because the water is going to fill this and plump it right up. I'm going to go ahead and get another hackle, another olive marabou. In fact, I'm going to take this one that has the little bit of blood stem, and I'm going to use that top section just. And we're going to tie that in. And I'm going to take that. I'm going to get that hackle plier right on the tip on the stem. There we go, right there. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this, folding everything to the rear as we're going. And there we go. This one was a little smaller, which is nice. Kind of give that taper towards the head. And we get up there and we're going to tie that in. Put that hackle plier on the side. And go ahead and break off that piece there. Now, Jack said that you can use a mallard flank for your top one. But I'm going to use, these are pheasant rump. This is a natural pheasant rump. I'm going to tie this one on first. And I'm going to tie this was actually a yellow dyed, but it's a nice olive color. And we don't want any of the fluff. We don't want any of this fluff, so you could go ahead and just peel that right off. And you can see even on this one, this side will probably be better. You got blood stem and not blood stem. I'm going to take the natural color and peel that off. I'm going to take them both at the same time, and I'm going to tie them in by the butt. I'm going to tie them in with the concave side to the shank. And secure them pretty good. When I come up, if you want, you could take them back and put a couple of wraps on top. Not really necessary. And one of the reasons is because you're going to have a big bulky stem on there. But if you have a nice blood stem there that you're tying down, you could certainly tie it back. I'm going to take those two hackles, those two pheasant rumps, and we're going to get those hackle pliers on those tips. And we're going to fold these to the back as we're going. And we're going to wind these on. I used a natural to mix it in there so it's not too much olive. Gives it a little bit more of a little mixture there. And we're going to wrap in all that we can. There we go. Go ahead and trim off those tips there. Now you can see they're standing up pretty well there. Yep, let me clear this up. I'm going to go ahead and put the flame to it. There we go. And just holding them back, you can see that it put them down. Just holding them back. I'm kind of pulling a little tight on them. And you could take one or two wraps back on them. Just going to clean up that head. There we go. Take our whip finish, put the hook over the thread, around the camel hump, bring it back, invert it, there's our X, bring it down. You can do even a couple of them. Widen that out. Now you can fish this just like this. Again, take your brush and brush that out nicely. You can put a weed guard on this if you intend to use it for bass. But I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to put some eyes on this. Just put it on your bodkin needle and it'll help you to place them better. And I'm putting them just into the feather, just slightly. Let me move that in there for you. There's our 3D eyes. We'll take another one, get that on the bodkin needle again, and line that up with the other side. These pupils are elongated, but the way they're sitting on there, I really don't think it matters a whole lot. I mean, the fish aren't going to inspect it that close up. That one has a pupil going the opposite way. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and put some. I'm using the Deer Creek UV Cure. I'll put some in between the eyes. I'm going to turn it over and put some in between on the bottom. And let that soak in there. Let that level off there. Now I let that soak in. I'm going to go ahead and put some more on there. Normally I would hit it with the UV light, but my wife has my UV light right this moment. She's bringing it to me. So I'm going to go ahead and put some more on there, and I'm going to go over the eyes. The reason that I hit it with the light before I put a second coat on is because sometimes if you don't, you can move the eyes and you mess up the alignment and makes it look not that great. So I'm going to just rotate this until my light shows up. Now I got my light and I'm going to hit it with the UV light, rotate it. Here's a good tip for you. I have this diamond. This is just sticky, a diamond sheet, some kind of tape or something like that. Come in a sheet, and that will help bounce that light around and help you get a coverage right around the whole thing quicker. It only takes a few seconds for this to cure. Now that's cured, and 2 times it's soaked in, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more on there because I want to kind of see a bubble around those eyes. And the Deer Creek eyes, you don't have to worry about putting a top coat on them, and they're tack free. I believe you could get the Deer Creek from Feathercraft. That fly shop, Feathercraft. There we go. I'm going to hit it with the light quick before it goes. Let that rotate a little bit. There we go. Get that setting up. Take my sheet once again. And here we have Jack Gartside's soft hackle streamer. Very good fly. It's going to work. It would actually work saltwater. It'll work for bass. It'll work for trout. But it's a nice large bait fish for some big fish. Like could be a baby bass. Could be baby sunfish. Could be anything in the saltwater. Could be a nice chub for trout fishing. And I hope that you learned something from this video. I hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Please visit my sponsors. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. If you'd like to purchase any flies that I make, go to etsy.com/shop/theflymanjim. And if you don't see it on there, just send me a message. Tell me what you're looking for. I'm sure we could figure things out. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.